Podquest.
So I had to take the notes in Notepad.
Tight.
So they're just raw text.
Is it just one long line too? You know how Notepad doesn't.
No, I did
return?
put line breaks.
Okay.
It puts line breaks though, but it doesn't turn. So some of them are long.
Okay. Nice. That's fun. I like that. I like that about Notepad. You can just do one long line forever. Dude, it's ice cream day.
It is ice cream day.
What do you do on ice cream day? There's not. Why is that not a fucking link? I guce it's pretty self-explanatory. It's just
yeah.
Ice
What
cream
do
day.
you want him to say, man?
Right. I don't know, man. History of ice cream. How Ben met Jerry. I don't know.
So, I have a question that's gonna sound like it's coming out of absolutely nowhere.
Okay.
How familiar are you with variants of chess?
I know. I've heard of chess boxing.
I don't know that one. That sounds crazy.
And that's
Are
it.
you familiar with things like heterocoalescence chess or
No.
weak or brownie in motion chess
No.
or maybe tutti frutti chess?
These are gum. These are ice cream and gum flavors.
What about chess on a really big board? It's the real name.
Like wizard. Is that wizard's chess like in Harry Potter?
No, but there is something called Way of the Night, which sort of ropes some D&D characteristics into chess.
That sounds pretty fucking sick, honestly. I do.
Everything that I've said, okay.
I know one major variant of chess, which is chess combat from Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance.
I'm so glad you said that. So, all of the chess variants I've just listed to you, we could also talk about strange relay chess,
Sure.
double conversion chess, Cassandra chess. All of these
Cassandra chess.
it doesn't matter. Right. All of these are developed by Ralph Betza. He is an FIDE master of chess and also a developer of a whole boatload of chess variants.
Yeah, dude.
Now,
Omicron.
the last chess variant that he made, according to Wikipedia, in the year 2002, is called The Game of Nimroth.
The Game of Nimroth?
It is the most complex chess variant that there is as far as I understand it. Now, on the chessvariants.com, there is a scriven by Ralph Betza about The Game of Nimroth. It is written by Ralph.
Okay.
And I want to read it. It is important to say we are not going to get to the part that is subtitled Official Rules of Nimroth. We're not going to get there. But I want to tell you a bit of a story about Nimroth because there was a reveal later on in the explanation that I think is relevant to our interests. It's going to take me a minute, so listeners strap in, maybe get some tea. Wait till it's dark out.
Sure.
Can I start reading this and you just react as I go?
You can start reading this, yes.
This is about The Game of Nimroth by Ralph Betza. Betza.
Betza. Corey, before we jump into this, please post the URL in the Discord so I can link this in the episode description. I won't read it.
Oh, I will. Okay. Also, I was reading this with my roommate the other day.
Okay.
And I want to preface this with, in no way am I making fun of this. I think this is fucking awesome.
Okay, good.
And we had a great time reading about, like, this is so fleshed out. It's like this chess variant is based on a fantasy world that this man had to create.
Oh, boy. Okay. Incredible. So he built a world.
He did.
Worlds within worlds.
In fact, I am realizing I may be able to skip chunks of this to get to the point that we need to get to.
Just follow your heart.
On a recent moonless midnight, a shutter screeched as it opened and closed again and again.
Fuck.
Opened and closed, though there was no wind. And in my dream, the screeching became the voice of a spirit that whispered to me the following tale. In Nimroth, a game called chess was played. The rules they used were not the rules we know, for Nimroth thrived when the world was still being built. Indeed, it was in the harbor of Nimroth that the moon was made, and the city destroyed by accident when Luna was floated up into the sky.
Jesus
in
Christ.
Nimroth, one did not play chess with crude figurines of plastic or wood. Instead, the actual creatures were moved about on a vast playing field, suspended in the unfinished firmament. On each... Oh, dude, I'm actually skipping the subtitles to add reveals.
Okay.
On each... Are you good?
I'm good.
Any thoughts so far?
This is the greatest story ever told, for starters.
On each player's royal square is a basilisk. It may retreat one square diagonally, or it may advance in the most forward manner of a knight, always to an...
You lead with
This
the
is
fucking
not even the good
basilisk.
part. This is not even the good part.
All right. Okay.
Always to an empty square, and the squares to which it may move are also the squares it can see. Any piece which is seen by a basilisk, be it friend or foe, is instantly thrown into a paroxysm of torment and petrified.
Of course. Fucking basilisk rules. Jesus
Petrified
Christ.
pieces continue to see and continue to suffer their torments, as evidenced by the dim glow of fire that can be discerned deep within their malachite forms.
Jesus Christ.
On the royal consort square, each player has a ghast. Ghast.
Okay.
This creature is so dreadful that no other piece, neither friend nor foe, may voluntarily approach within 2 squares of it. Any friendly piece within that distance, if it chooses to move, must flee the ghast. Any enemy piece within that distance is compelled to flee. The ghast moves by jumping 2 squares diagonally and must land on an empty square. To flee means that the piece must move further away from the ghast than it was at the start of its move. Compelled moves mean that the player does not have a free choice of moves. Instead, the player must move a piece which is compelled, so long as there is a square to which it may voluntarily move.
Sure.
If multiple pieces are compelled, the player may choose any of them. If some pieces are compelled but none have legal moves, the game is lost. A note here is that this game cannot be lost in a stalemate. That's part of the chess variant angle.
Okay.
Which I think is kind of interesting, actually.
Interesting.
I don't know a lot about chess. There's a lot of interesting chess stuff going on here.
Sure.
Amid the incredible lore, we are primarily
Also,
here for the lore.
Some deep cut Magic the Gathering mechanics are making their way in. Apparently.
Oh yeah.
It feels like it. I don't know. I'm more just talking.
Sometimes it is possible to make a saving move with one piece. With some other piece than a compelled one, I should say. For example, suppose that your basilisk has been pushed onto an occupied square and so is compelled to move off but has no legal move. If you can engulf your own basilisk with a leaf pile, you have removed the condition causing the compulsion, and therefore you have saved the game. Neil, I need you to strap the fuck in for what I am about to say. Neil, I need you to get ready. I need you to be ready for this, okay?
I'll laugh.
Neil?
Okay, all right.
We're getting there. We're
All right.
actually we're like 5 subheadings away from the important part.
Shit. Okay.
But it's going to take us a while to get through this.
All right.
On the square where chess players expect to see a bishop, instead we find a pile of leaves.
A fucking pile of leaves.
Hang on. This is so
All
important.
right. Okay.
A commonplace sight in the autumn when the deciduous trees have shed. A friendly sight, an inoffensive pile of leaves.
Okay.
However,
Oh shit.
however,
The dread pile of leaves.
you're more right than you would expect. However, I'm going to try to say this without laughing. I'm going to try so hard.
All right.
Because it's awesome.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, give me a sec.
Okay.
Because I read it last night without laughing and it was good.
Yeah.
However, this pile of leaves is animated by a spirit so evil and so ancient that there are no words to describe either its malignance nor its anciency.
Jesus fucking Christ.
The leaf pile moves 1 square in any direction, and if the square to which it moves or is moved is occupied, it engulfs every occupant of that square, friend or foe. And when it moves on after engulfing, it leaves a single hideous mummy of such terrifying aspect that no other piece will ever voluntarily occupy the same square as the mummy. There are still leaf piles on Earth, but whether any are animated is a question no one dares to investigate. After all, a piece that is moved onto a leaf pile is engulfed and mummified.
Fuck. What?
Now, the go away
Hold on.
begins the game.
Sorry, was that implying that
Yes.
in this realm, leaf piles are
In
all,
Nimroth,
in Nimroth, leaf piles are all possessed by evil spirits. In Earth,
so evil and so old, we literally have no idea.
right, but in Earth, there are leaf piles, but nobody knows whether they're haunted or not.
We haven't checked.
We haven't checked. Nobody's thought
Well,
to look.
we haven't checked all of them.
Okay.
Like, you can make a leaf pile at your house, and it's
Sure.
probably not possessed by a spirit so evil and so ancient that we can't even describe it.
But if we just sort of come across one in the wild in the woods, perhaps. You just
Fuck,
have
there's
no
a
way of
really
knowing.
good line coming up. Fuck.
All right. Okay. I'm just making sure I'm on
And
board.
I have a Mortal Kombat reason to be talking about this, I promise.
Okay. All right, cool.
The go-away begins the game on the Knight Square and moves by jumping 2 squares rook-wise to an empty square, or by stepping 1 square diagonally.
Jumping. All right. Okay.
Jumping rook-wise.
Sure.
Instead of moving, it can stay in place and make every adjacent piece, whether friend or foe, flee 1 square straight away from it.
Okay.
A colony of go-aways still survives on Saturn.
What the
We're almost there, I promise.
Jesus Christ. All
Now,
right.
now Saturn famously in Earthrealm. Just gonna mention
Sure.
that.
Yeah, that's one of our planets. You know?
The Wounded Fiend begins the game on the Rook Square
Okay.
and moves rook-wise to empty squares. But of course, it may never approach a gas too closely, and if it attempts to cross a square seen by a basilisk, it will be
Oh,
petrified.
fuck. Of course.
The Wounded Fiend was given its painful wound by a magical sword. Maybe it happened in Defenders of the Realm. And the
Possibly.
wound continues at all times to ooze copious amounts of fetid ichor, which drench every square it lands on or crosses. No piece, neither friend nor foe, will dare venture upon an ichorous square until the ichor evaporates 5 moves later. So many games were played in Nimroth, and so many wounded fiends pushed off the board to fall forever, that the tracks of ichor left by the falling fiends can be seen even now in the sky. Neil, in our ignorance, we call it the Milky Way.
Holy shit. The Milky Way was created by way of the Eben rule.
And a series of wounded fiends. Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Each player
This dude
begins
was
with
on some shit. I'm sorry, man.
each player begins with a row of humans on his second rank.
Oh no. Okay.
The human moves 1 square in any direction to an empty square, but a geas has been laid upon it so that it may not retreat. Upon reaching the 8th rank, a human becomes a zombie.
Jesus.
In Nimroth, the pieces now called humans had a different name, but that was so long ago that the name for that piece and even the creature it was named for are now forgotten.
Fuck. And humans we're all just pawns, man. We're all just pawns in this game of chess played by the gods of order and chaos.
The zombie does not feel fear, nor can it be petrified. It moves 1 square in any direction and destroys all pieces, even petrified or mummified pieces, on its destination square. Ichor destroys zombies. A zombie which is involuntarily moved to an ichorous square is dissolved. Now, this subheading I'm going to read. It says winning the game.
Okay.
Surely you cannot imagine that a mere mortal could win this game. Merely by playing it, you have consigned your spirit to the nether depths, where all the unspeakable horrors dreamed of by the elder gods will be visited upon you.
What? Oh no.
But if you insist on playing, at least try to deprive your opponent of all legal moves. He who has no legal moves loses in all senses, while the other player at least manages to feel the taste of an evanescent and hollow victory.
Wow.
So, all of that's to say, I think the one being made the Nimroth game.
Dude. Yeah. What's the guy who wrote this?
Ralph Betza.
Ralph Betza. Okay, so so the one being spoke through Ralph Betza to lay out the rules of.
Lest we forget, the screeching became the voice of a spirit that whispered to me the following tale.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's so that's the voice.
Yeah. So through space and time, the one being imbued Ralph Betza with a ancient and cosmic tale of games truly larger than life, building the universe around us in the realm, influenced specifically by the Elder Gods. And I think that is a really untapped piece of potential lore.
Yeah, dude. Boy, it turns out that probably is the story behind chess combat on Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance.
It probably is. I have no doubt, and I mean this as earnestly as humanly possible, that I really do think that some level of the idea for MK chess maybe came from like a fantasy tinged chess variant idea. There's more of those than you would think.
This is incredible, dude. I can't.
Ralph Betza has invented a shitload of chess variants. They all have
Right.
incredible names. I'm going to bring a few more to the table.
Okay.
Biological warfare chess.
Sure.
Liar's chess. Koopa chess.
That's a Mario chess.
Ghost Rider chess.
That's a Ghost Rider chess.
Very Scottish chess. Which is pretty funny.
Is there also Scottish chess? And then there's also very Scottish chess.
One can only assume. Now, I have one more thing that I learned about chess variants. Which is that there is a class of chess piece called fairy chess. Those are pieces that change the rules.
Okay.
Essentially.
All right. They turn it into like a Jumanji situation.
Well, they just work differently. And I just wanted to name what a couple of those are.
Sure.
So if you go to classification on fairy chess piece on Wikipedia, you see simple pieces, leapers. Those are pieces that jump when they move. This goes along with other games. Like there are a lot of chess variants that invoke a game called shogi. Also Shatranj, which I'm probably saying wrong, but it's a Persian game that's sort of like chess. Shogi is a Japanese game that's kind of like chess. Anyway, I'm going to give you the categorizations of 4 different kinds of jumping pieces. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You're not.
I'm probably not.
Furs. F-E-R-Z. Furs. The icon is an upside down bishop.
All right.
So was the one for Alfil.
Alfil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then there's Wazir.
Wazir. All right.
And my personal favorite upside down rook that can jump 2 spaces, Dababa.
Dababa.
And if you think I'm lying, there's the Wikipedia page to Dababa.
There's a whole Wikipedia page for Dababa.
You're goddamn fucking right.
Jesus
it is. Now, for the record, Dababa is a real word. I didn't know this when I laughed at it really hard the first time that I heard it.
Or like you just fucking pranked me into doing just now.
Look, it's because it sounds funny. It sounds like a baby talking.
God damn it.
It means tank in Arabic.
Okay.
Now we're learning. Pretty cool.
Sure, but But tanks aren't known for jumping.
It's chess mechanics.
All right.
Anyway, Dababa kind of got me. That's a very funny.
Oh, dude, you know what tank is known for jumping?
Go on.
The Metal Slug from Metal Slug.
So that's true.
Yeah.
But just to put a pin in this, because I know we do have to move on. I fell down a rabbit hole about chess variants the other day.
Sure.
And I was reading the Game of Nimroth by Ralph Betza to my roommate Sean.
Okay.
And when we got to the Elder Gods part, I literally made a note that I needed to tell you about this because that means that it's lore. And this is maybe the most tangential and ephemeral relationship we could get to Mortal Kombat. And I want to double down just by saying this is awesome. I'm not mocking this at all.
Rad.
Like the fact that a guy spent 30 years coming up with chess variants and gave several of them deep, fantastical lore is so fucking cool to me. It's unbelievable. Like,
so yeah, it's very cool. I'm a little worried about the guy.
He's doing great. He's like 70 something.
Sure.
Vibing.
But it seems like, okay, have you read much Kurt Vonnegut?
No, I've never read Kurt Vonnegut.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to go on to a whole, what are we at? 20-minute spiel about Kurt Vonnegut. But Kurt Vonnegut,
Ralph went somewhere and I had to take you with me.
So he had a few recurring characters, most notably Kilgore Trout, probably the biggest. Sort of a self-insert character for Vonnegut himself. But when Vonnegut was getting up in years, it was right around the time, I think it was Breakfast of Champions. He was writing Breakfast of Champions, and he felt so bad for how awful he treated his characters, in particular Kilgore Trout, that he felt it necessary to insert himself into his story to directly apologize to the man within the text of the book.
Himself, Kurt Vonnegut?
Kurt Vonnegut was present for many of the events that happened in Breakfast of Champions and had a conversation with Kilgore Trout, basically more or less saying, listen, I'm sorry. I've been treating you like shit because you're kind of a stand-in for my dad, and my bad, homie. Like, I feel like this guy reached that Kurt Vonnegut level of hating his own creations to the point where he had to like invent like tortured mythology. Like, I think this is a man who hates chess at this point, who is putting the bishop and the rook through
He's
so
making
much
a game
twisted
so
nonsense.
different from chess that like,
yeah, that he's like, he needs to do another, like, he needs to do a back to basics. He needs a chess piece of himself that can go into this game and heal the zombies and unfreeze.
Well, he didn't
those
do anything,
frozen
Neil.
by the basilisk.
I think you missed the part where
This was whispered to him, right? I understand. It was whispered to him by the elder gods. Sure.
Yeah, and that, you know, like in Nimroth, one did not play chess with crude figurines or plastic wood. Instead, the actual creatures were like, this happened in the past.
I understand. Yeah, I
for real.
I get it.
He didn't do it.
Okay, that's all right. But let's say he did. I think that the man needs to do a little bit of healing. That's all.
I will say I did read, if I understand correctly, that this is the most complicated chess variant.
It fucking sounds like it, dude.
What I found out though is that like you still play it on a normal chessboard.
Sure, yeah.
And you can use the pieces that you have. They just do such radically different things. And there are so many different levels here.
Yeah. So you did all of this chess variant research without stumbling across chess boxing.
Yeah, I was too busy reading about Sonic the Hedgehog chess and then Sonic the Hedgehog chess advanced.
And you don't know, okay, advanced, that's pretty fun.
I will say I'm very upset. I scrolled down to references and there is a thing that says this game was not inspired by this story, but you should read it anyway. Okay. And there's a hyperlink and it just goes to yahoo.com now. It's broken.
Oh, damn it. Have you tried the Wayback Machine on archive.org?
Oh. No, oh my God, I haven't.
Okay.
Oh, Neil, hang on. I know that we have to do a podcast. Give me literally 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I know what year he wrote this. So
okay, all right.
Dude, if I can find out what this is, fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. I hope this got logged. God, please.
I mean, it would suck if it didn't, like.
It did.
It did?
Ooh, baby.
Oh, fuck. Thank God. This is why I give them $4 a month.
Wow, it's basically the same.
Do I give them $4 a month? I'm pretty sure I donate to Archive.
God, please, dude. Whoa.
What? Did it?
It's on a chess website still?
Okay.
This written fiction is on a chess website? This is written fiction about chess. Hang on.
I love chess nerds. Jesus Christ.
The following story was originally published in Electronic Teen Notes, August 17th, 1997. The story was part of a series of articles about learning a new opening using chess-based software. This short story was my means of working a really bad chess game I'd once played into the series in a creative manner. This story is a parody/pastiche of the horror stories of American writer H.P. Lovecraft. It's full of inside jokes and Lovecraft references. You'll find a list of these elsewhere on this site. See how many you catch before looking them up.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, this is a Lovecraft parody about a bad chess game.
This means there's going to be veiled racism in it.
It's quite long, so I'm afraid I will not be reading The Perk Horror by Steve Lopez right now.
Could just be outright racism also.
I feel like I can sleep knowing that I know what this story is now.
Thank God we've put that mystery to bed. Corey,
this makes me wish I knew anything about chess. You know what else is sort of like chess? You know what's a little bit like chess?
Chess boxing, which I'm going to tell you about right now. Corey, this is a hybrid sport where two combatants play alternating rounds of blitz chess and boxing until one wins by checkmate or knockout.
That's a fun idea.
Yeah, it's a very real game, and obviously the best variant of chess. It was invented by French comic book artist Enki Bilal and adapted by Dutch performance artist Lepe Rubing as an art performance, subsequently grown into a competitive sport, popular in the UK, India, Finland, and Russia.
That's where I would think that would be the most popular.
Do you want to do some chess boxing?
Yeah, I'll fly to Florida for that.
Fuck it, you and me, let's go. You learn chess on the plane.
Anyway, really quick, the link to the Game of Nimroth will be in the description.
Thank God.
God, dude, it's a really fun read.
Yeah,
up until you hit the even when you hit the specifics of the rules, like you still get sentences like riders cannot cross squares seen by basilisks, but leaping pieces can.
Sure, yeah, because they're leaping.
The only rider in the game is the wounded fiend, etc.
Quality.
Unreal stuff. Humans are worth very little. True.
Sure, just like in real life, just like in our realm.
Anyway, shout out to Chess Realm, Nimroth Realm, and my man Ralph Betza. That brought me so much unbridled joy.
Shout out to Ralph Bakshi.
Sure, yeah.
Mortal Kombat Battlewave issues 4 through 6. Corey, are you ready to dive into this fucking mental ass chess game that Shao Kahn is playing?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, am I ready? Yeah, I'm ready. You know what? We're not editing this podcast. I've decided just now. With that throat clear, it's staying in.
That's ominous.
Issue 4 of Mortal Kombat Battlewave is titled Days of Thunder, Nights of Pain.
Oh, yeah, I guess I should get my notes out.
It might be good. I'm going to go through the credits while you do that. While
They're
you open Notepad. This issue was written, as all of these were, by Charles Marshall, the man, the myth, the legend. I wonder if he's ever created any chess variants. Perhaps one where all the pieces have to state their own name before moving.
Fuck.
Pencils by Patrick Rollo, inks by Richard Emond, Joseph Allen on lettering, Joan Igawa on colors, Salvador Mancha as the color editor, and the interior colors done by The Wolf Pack. This cover, the cover of this issue, I don't think we give enough credit to the covers of these things. The cover is Goro and Kentaro fighting, and it's drawn very well. It's a very cool cover for a story that doesn't really happen in the main part of the issue, just sort of happens at the back end as like a backup story. Corey, how long ago did you read these? So you read these like over a week ago at this point, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm gonna have to kind of guide this, aren't I? I'm gonna have to guide this.
Yeah, yeah.
Have to guide this plane.
I feel like I remember issue 6 pretty well.
Sure, because nothing happens in it, really. So when we last left everybody, so remember Sonya had been captured. She's on Shang Tsung's island. Jax got beat up by Goro, but now he's on an airplane with Johnny Cage. Liu Kang and Bo, who was Johnny Cage's bodyguard, were like just gonna go off and try to get back into Outworld. That's kind of where we left everybody, right? So this opens on the plane with Jax and Johnny Cage being attacked by Smoke and Jade, right? Which is exactly where issue 3 left off. Cliffhanger ending. Everyone's fighting, right?
Yeah, this lasts for about 4 pages.
They're making sick as hell jokes and references, right? Somebody says, "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn." I think that was probably Johnny Cage because he makes movie references a lot.
Yeah, and meanwhile, it is worth mentioning that Jade, when reintroducing them, is sort of like Team Rocket and is almost speaking in rhyme.
Yes, that is important. Do you remember what the rhyme is? Is it just like, "I am Jade, you're about to get slayed"?
I'll pull it up. I had it in front of me a second ago.
My boy Smoke is no joke.
It is. We are the emissaries of disaster, the prophets of doom, and now as surely as we have slain the poor pilots of this craft, we shall destroy you. And then Smoke says Toasty.
Toasty. And then Jax is like, "Hey, man, no smoking on the plane." Get it?
LMAO.
Love it. And then I think Jax punches a hole.
Everybody's so muscular and it's got so many lines on them. I kind of forgot. Everybody's so crunchy looking.
Bro, there's some shots later where like Shao Kahn is standing next to Sonya Blade where you're like, his hand is like as like could wrap around her torso. It's kind of nuts. Anyway, Jax punches a hole in the airplane and Smoke, who's in smoke form, gets sucked out of it, and Jax makes a Gone with the Wind joke, which is very good. And then Jade just sort of jumps out of the airplane with a parachute, right? She's just like, bye.
LMAO, see ya.
Yeah.
They were just like, we needed to wait long enough to make sure this plane crashed.
Pretty much. I mean, so I don't know how the fuck they got here. Did they get here like immediately after the Raiden and Kano, like 2 pages they were on? They're just like teleporting in and out of places, doing nothing and fucking leaving.
I guess
like they suck, right? Like every time we've seen them, they've just been shitty at whatever they were doing, except for that time they like beat up that nurse. That was the only time they actually did anything. You know, like Jade and Smoke just fucking suck in this comic.
They're doo-doo ass, yeah.
But The plane is
sorry.
Damn it. The plane is going down, and then Raiden, like Superman, catches it, just comes out of nowhere and like rescues them and like flies the plane.
Hold fast, mortals. Raiden has you, and the God of Thunder shall not fail. In case you forgot who Raiden was.
Right, smart. Yeah, God of Thunder, the Thunderer, the lightning fucker, whatever it is. And he, like, through force of will, breaks through the barrier into Outworld with the airplane. Like, that's the implication here, right? Like, he flies the plane, like, carries the plane and the boys into Outworld. Meanwhile, we cut to someplace, quote, high and cold and very far from civilization, right?
Earth-shatteringly hilarious. What you're about to say?
We're in the fucking mountains, and Liu Kang and Bo they're climbing a mountain or some shit, trying to find a secret portal entrance to Outworld.
They're climbing a mountain in like the Arctic for all that matters.
Yes.
And Bo is still in a suit for this hike and in like shades.
Yeah.
He's still iced out, to which I wrote, "Yo, Bo, you only bow once." I don't know why I wrote that, but...
All right, well, you did write it.
Boy, did I.
So they get to like this like high cliff, right? And I guess the portal, like you have to jump off the cliff to like get through the portal, right? And Bo's like, "Nah, dude, I didn't fucking sign up for this, Liu Kang." And Liu Kang's like, "No, it's cool. Like, you don't have to come to Outworld. This is my job to do it, right?" And Bo's like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of afraid of heights, so I don't think I'm down." So Liu Kang jumps, and then Bo's like, fuck it, fine, I will go. And then he jumps, but something happens as they're going through this portal where he just gets like caught by a fist or something. I don't exactly remember or understand where this is happening, but the bottom line is whatever this portal process is, it's been interrupted by fucking Siang. Siang? We never settled on that, did we?
I think we said Siang.
Siang is back in Pog form, right?
Finally.
He like punches Bo in the middle of the air or something, and he's like, "You have found danger. You have found death. You have found Siang." Dude's back. Nobody cares. Then we cut to Outworld, where we know Sonya has been kept as a prisoner in the fortress of the Dark Emperor, right? And she's sneaking around archways and shit in a very cool, like, muted colored page spread when she's attacked by Melina and Reptile, who are like a duo in this, you know?
Yeah.
It's weird how they like to pair up like the palette swaps, right? Like we've got Melina and Reptile, that's like a couple, right?
Yeah.
A team. And we've got Smoke and Jade, that's like a team. And then over on the good guys side, we've got Katana and Sub-Zero as like a team. So like everyone's got the little paired off, you know, ninja, right? Except for Scorpion, who's just kind of, I guess he's just got his army of the undead.
The reveal of Siang is like a parody of Muscles, by the way.
Yeah.
It is unfathomable.
I don't think it's as bad as the cover, the Smoke and Jade cover for Battlewave issue 3. Have you given that a look recently?
Recently? No.
Yeah, go take a look at that real quick if you
Battlewave
want.
3.
Sure, I can maybe drop it in the Discord.
No, Siang is worse than that.
Siang is worse, you think?
I think it is. Than that smoke arm, yeah.
That smoke arm is fucking gross.
Look at Siang again.
All right, I'm doing it.
Like, really take it in.
Oh, you're fucking right, dude.
It's unbelievable.
It's like he's got like, they look like they're filled with pus or some shit. Like they're gonna burst, dude. His arm looks like Freddy Krueger's face.
And his face looks like Freddy Krueger's face.
It's fucking gross. You're right, man. Jesus Christ. It's like his arm is made up of like 1,000 baby arms. Sick, dude. And not in the good way. Not in like the sick dude way, right? Anyway, Sonya's sneaking around when she's like attacked by Melina and Reptile. And she's fighting them pretty good for a while, but they get the upper hand, and then Reptile is like, "Shao Kahn has special plans for Sonya." You know, like he does. Like he's got plans. Shao Kahn's got plans for you, Sonya. Well, I'm not going to do the Reptile voice, but I am leaving that in the episode. And Sonya's like, "No, I don't like that. I don't want Shao Kahn to have plans for me. Like, I want to get out of here." And then
bear in mind, this issue's already almost over, and it feels like we've been talking about it for 35 seconds.
Right. And yeah, nothing happens in this. And then, so then Shao Kahn shows up.
And he looks just unconscionable.
I do have plans for you, Sonya Blade, and those plans are that we are going to get married.
To be continued.
That's the main stories from the issue, but we do have a backup story called When Titans Clash with a K.
Can I complain really quickly?
Yeah, of course you can.
Why does
half the show?
Spoilers. Every issue ends with a few pages
unattached
of like a random interlude. So you can't tell me that they earnestly thought that this marriage subplot they came up with was worth 3 entire issues of a comic book, because that's not even what they did.
They couldn't even dedicate that many issues. No.
Yeah,
there's nothing to it. And they crammed all this other stuff in with these backup stories that is mostly uneventful. Some of the stuff, and then by the time we get to the last issue of this series, they're referencing stuff that didn't even happen in this series that must have happened in like the one-shots or something that we didn't even know about until the backup stories in these issues revealed it. It's just getting real fucking complicated, like needlessly so, and nothing is happening. And I'm going to say it now, like, I am not enjoying this back half of these comics nearly as much as I was the front half. Like, Blood and Thunder and Goro Prince of Pain were like the peak, right? The peak of these. And it has kind of been fucking downhill since, dude. Like, I'm not jiving with this like I was, I don't know, man.
No, I mean, like, the biggest thing, and we'll get to this, but like, I was willing to take a 20-minute Game of Nimroth interlude because like 4 things happen.
Yeah.
Over the course of 3 entire issues, and they set up a variety of these things as being fairly significant, and then they're either brushed by the wayside or entirely irrelevant.
Mostly entirely irrelevant.
As are the interludes, like this Kentaro Goro interlude feels like,
sure.
Okay, they talked a little.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks, bud.
So it's called When Titans Clash, written by Charles Marshall, pencils by Brian O'Connell, colors by Moose Bauman, letters by Joe Allen. Okay.
Team Rocket, again, prepare to fight.
This is so we had Liu Kang in the last issue looking for a secret portal into Outworld, and then we had Raiden flying through a secret portal into Outworld, I think somewhere around where Shang Tsung's island is. Now we've got Kentaro in Outworld waiting at a secret entrance portal from Earthrealm. We're going to see Sub-Zero talk about a secret portal, like a secret Lin Kuei portal into Outworld. Like, there's just secret fucking portals into Outworld all over the place, and everybody has access to one. It's kind of a cop-out, like, it's just an annoying trope that this comic book is leaning hard on, but it doesn't matter. This is one of Gorbak's secret portals. Kentaro's just hanging out by one, waiting for Goro to return to Outworld so he can fight him. Now, he had no idea Goro was returning. He's just been like camping out, waiting, I guess, for days, weeks.
For as long as Goro was gone, because we don't really know.
Yeah. It's a very long time Goro was gone, because like we saw him like beating up Liu Kang in a penthouse office like a few weeks ago and like bullying Jax at the gym, right? So anyway, it doesn't fucking matter. The Goro shows up through the portal and they start throwing lots of hands because they each have lots of hands, right? And Goro's like, "Ha, Kentaro, you're such a fucking wuss," and he like beats the shit out of him, and Kentaro starts like spitting blood, and Kentaro's like, "Well, I'm not trying to beat you. I'm just trying to show my worth as a warrior to the emperor or whatever." And Goro's like, "Cool, yeah, tight. We're friends. We got to stick together. Shit's about to get real." That's it. That's the whole point of this backup story, is that Goro is now back in Outworld, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, nothing. Just nothing.
It's nothing. These 3 issues, you could skip them.
They're kind of nothing, honestly. Like, issue 5, The Killing Fields, once again written by Charles Marshall.
Sorry.
What's up?
That's not funny. I was clicking through to remind me what some of it looked like, and I got to the certain reveal page.
Okay.
Looks pretty funny.
All right. Pencils by Vinton T. Hook. Inks by David Mowry. Letters by Teresa Davidson. Color design by John Igawa. Cover by The Wolfpack with Salvador Mancha. This is a good cover. This is just like a Shao Kahn drawing where he's got like red energy and like lightning coming from his like hands and his eyes. because remember, at the first part of Battlewave, we learned that Shao Kahn has laser eyes in this universe.
Relevant, yeah.
Sure. So just some nice cover art. I think the covers are the strongest part of most of these comics. Certainly of these three, the covers are the strongest parts. Anyway, Reptile apparently has a power where he can just hypnotize people into doing whatever he wants.
Apparently, yeah.
Sometimes it just takes a lot of time for him to like really wear him down, I guess. But yeah, he's just hypnotizing Sonya into agreeing to marry Shao Kahn, which like she's resisting at first. She's like tied to a chair, like cartoon style, right? And Kano and Melina are there with him, and Kano's like, well, maybe we need to rough you up and convince you to. And she's like, no, I'll never marry Shao Kahn. And Reptile is like, well, I'm just going to hypnotize harder. And then she's like, yeah, I'll marry Shao Kahn. Like, it's just one page, right? And she's gone from resisting to like, yeah, you win. I'm going to marry Shao Kahn. So, yeah, time to start planning a wedding, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Like, that's the whole, like, that's the whole issue.
Kinda.
That's the whole issue. Like, some people fight, but like,
yeah, that's certainly all of the marriage part, you know. But we do get this pretty cool 2 pages where we see Sub-Zero like scaling the walls of the dark fortress of Shao Kahn, right?
Right. And he says like, hey, I'm Sub-Zero and I'm here to say, yeah.
Yeah, and he attacks and freezes a guard, and then they do a little flash. He's like, yeah, the Lin Kuei attempted to storm this fortress in the past to no avail, but nothing will stop Sub-Zero. And then we get a little flashback because Sub-Zero has to think about his whole life before he can raid Shao Kahn's palace.
Dewey Cox needs to think about his entire life before he plays.
So it flashes back just briefly, just to remind us that Sub-Zero teamed up like with Kitana, Kung Lao, and Baraka against Shao Kahn and Scorpion's undead army. We cut back to Sub-Zero, who's like, but this is no time for introspection. And then he immediately gets like punched in the face by a Shokan fist. We don't know whose, right? You can tell it's like a meaty Shokan paw, though. Paul. Speaking of Paul
commercial
wrote us an email where he says...
This is a Paul commercial.
This is... Fuck, I closed the tab. I'm so bad at doing podcasts.
No editing.
The subject line is marriage. Hi, Neil and Corey. I think Tracy Douglas and Adani Meropis would both very much like to marry you, Neil. You could probably ask Adani directly. Also, I'm always listening. Always. Kind regards, Paul. Paul, write in if you heard us say that in the middle of this episode. See if you really are listening. If you really are Paul Ways listening. Anyway, Sub-Zero got knocked out, right? Boom. We cut to Liu Kang and Bo. I guess they made it through to Outworld, right? And Liu Kang is unconscious and Bo is trying to wake him up.
And then Siang is like, don't worry about it.
Siang is like, I'm going to give you the death grip, right? I'm going to sap the very life from you with my death grip. But then Raiden shows up with Jax and Johnny. And they all start to fight Siang, and Siang's like, yeah, you can beat me up, but can you handle the death grip? But it doesn't matter because he's like outnumbered now because
like 18-1.
Bo, Raiden, Johnny, Jax, and Liu Kang is now conscious. So like he has no choice but to chill out. And Liu Kang's like, hey, bro, what happened? We thought you died, right? So just to catch the listeners up, Corey, what's Siang's whole deal?
So there's Sing and Sang.
Uh-huh.
And they were White Lotus warriors.
Yeah.
Who could fuse together into Siang.
Yeah, they fuse Gogeta style.
They fuse Gogeta style.
Uh-huh.
They fuse Vegito style.
Sure, yeah, that too.
They fuse Gotenk style. Is that a fusion?
Gotenk style, that's a fusion.
Okay, cool. That's all I got. Those are the three that I have.
I think those are all the ones that there are. Or do Gohan and Videl like fuse?
Krillin style.
Somehow.
Yeah, I live my life Krillin style.
Quarter mile at a time. So they were fused back in Blood and Thunder, and they fought Goro, and Goro ripped them in half and like unfused them, right? So what we learn is that after that happened,
bitch, you thought.
Seeing woke up, near dead, but awoke, and found his brother Sang dead, but still was able to merge one final time with him. So he's just like half dead, I guess, but looks the same. But he like did it out of desperation to like try to save his dead brother's soul or something like that. I don't really understand, and I don't think Charles Marshall did either. But Sing's back, or Siang is back, right? And now the dumb part. Apparently, to earn redemption, Siang went to Outworld to face Shao Kahn, but Shao Kahn used some new MacGuffin that they're introducing now in issue 5 of this 6-issue arc called the Death Stone.
Yeah, and honestly, who fucking cares?
To take control of Siang and turn him into an unwilling servant. And Liu Kang is like, all right, well, one way or another, you're coming with us, so let's boogie. Meanwhile, in Shao Kahn's palace, Sonya is in like a traditional like wedding dress, like an Earth Realm wedding dress with a veil and a bouquet, like a sitcom marriage wedding dress, right?
Yeah, and then the funniest panel in the history of Mortal Kombat comics happens.
Tell me about it.
So, I don't know if you know what this guy. There's this guy. Bit of a sorcerer type.
Sure.
His name's Shang Tsung.
His name is Shang Tsung.
So he's back and younger than ever.
Younger, hotter Shang Tsung.
And so picture, we need to post this, I think. But it's youthful, exuberant Shang Tsung. He's got a little black hat. He's got a black cloak. Cape situation, gold and black suspenders, ripped to shreds, pencil mustache, and he's ready to be best man at this wedding.
He is ready to be best man at this fucking wedding. Shao Kahn's best man. Yeah, this is Mortal Kombat 2 looking Shang Tsung,
but funnier than you could possibly imagine.
With a weird chin.
And he's rubbing his hands together like he knows he had to do it to him. Like,
it's really funny just to see, like, because it's like Melina, Reptile, Kano, Shao Kahn, and Shang Tsung, and they're all just like chilling, like planning a wedding. Sonya's in a wedding dress. It's so fucking weird, dude. The whole thing is weird.
And then you flip the page to the short story, and then you flip the page again, and those pages include the second and third funniest things we've ever seen.
Yeah, man. So this one has another backup story as well. This one called The Gift. This time the art is by Thomas Cisneros, and the colors by Mike Heileman. The rest of the credits are the same as the rest of the issue. So it's Kano trying to like steal some big black jewel out of like a scepter or something, right?
Well, it's the Death Stone.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that yet.
Well, we know that though.
But he touches it and it fucks him up. And then Scorpion's like, hey, dude.
Viciously contorts his body, and he's like, ah! Like, he's like really he's like really shrieking. It's more like a like it's more like that.
Yeah.
That's the face he's making. His arms are all over the place. It looks really funny.
But it's the
fuck, that Scorpion page is so good. How did I forget about this Scorpion page?
The Scorpion page, yeah.
Fuck.
So Scorpion shows up, and Scorpion's like, "Hey, dude, that's not for humans. That's the Death Stone. It was a gift for me.
Hey, that's my Death Stone.
It's how I give strength to my undead army, who I'm going to use to kill Kitana, Kung Lao, Baraka, and my mortal enemy Sub-Zero." And then, here's the spread that you must be talking about when he's like, and then I will march my undead army through Outworld and Earth Realm.
Well, it's the picture where it looks like Scorpion is dancing, swinging a pendant around, and the entire background is just headshots of skeleton ghouls.
That's exactly the page. He's doing like a cool, arms over, like
it's contorting and fucking up his body too, but he can handle it because he's not a pussy like Kano.
Sure. He's undead. He's got a dancer's body, really, if you think about it. Kano does not have a dancer's body.
Scorpion's got like a Broadway body.
Scorpion's like a gymnast. He's like 15 years of ballet, etc. And and then the background is just like just fucking zombie skull heads with different helmets and shit on.
It's so funny. It's in a row. It's 3 of the funniest things I've ever seen.
It's a great It is the most fun out of any of these issues for sure. But yeah, he's basically like, I got the Death Stone, it's mine, and it's gonna make my army strong, and they have the best leader. And then Kintaro comes in and is like, oh, you think you're the strongest? I heard you boasting, and I'm the strongest. Dead ninja. And Kintaro walks in holding Sub-Zero's unconscious body, because that was the fist we saw knock him out. There will be no payoff for this. Right?
Nope.
Not in this.
There's no payoff for any of it.
Sure, there
because
must be.
The wedding is completely irrelevant by the time that we get there. Spoilers.
Right. There must be stuff that happens in the one shots, which we're going to be tackling next, that like fill in, because like
God, there fucking better be. Jesus Christ.
We just saw Kintaro drag Sub-Zero's unconscious body to Scorpion, who has the Death Stone, and then in issue 6. Sub-Zero's just fine, and Scorpion's like, how did you escape? Something must have happened that we didn't see yet. And so, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the way they're unfolding these stories is such, like, why wasn't that, like, why? Just why? The story is so spread out in these that you can't, like, get a whole picture of what
it's so spread out, but nothing's happening either.
Yeah.
Like, there's just not enough material here.
It's just, our time is just being wasted.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. So on to issue 6, man. It is the wedding you hoped you'd never see, dude.
What a weird. Can we talk about that for a second? What do you mean? I'd never thought about it once in my life. What do you mean the wedding I hoped I would never see?
Charles Marshall is anti-interrealm marriages, apparently.
Well, if they were happy, I'd be fine with it. But
sure, but I guess like Shao
most
Kahn,
weddings don't rely on hypnotism.
It's true. This is like some Lex Luthor marrying like Lois Lane shit.
It's like, just like that. Did they do that? I'm sure they did.
I'm sure they fucking did that.
Oh yeah, Goreback is here.
They did like a whole Lana Lang Lex Luthor run in Smallville, which made no fucking sense. I don't even want to talk about it. This is a good cover though. This is a fun cover. It's like Shao Kahn with his like arm, his hand. It's on
her entire torso.
Her entire torso. Like it would, like my note says hip, and I was looking at it, I'm like, that's not hip. That is
it is hip. It's just also the rest of it.
It's hip, ribs. It's all the way up to like armpit. It's like whole torso. Yeah. And she's in a wedding dress, and there's like roses falling from the sky, and you can see Jax and Johnny Cage like with shackles around their necks, chained in the background.
Yeah, which is patently is just not what's happening.
Yeah, but it's a good cover.
I will say that first page that we get is one of the best drawings of a vacant, dead-eyed expression I've maybe ever seen.
They really did fucking nail the hypnotized Sonya.
Also, look at how tiny Shang Tsung is. Little baby boy.
This issue is called titled Death Moves. Written by Charles Marshall, penciled by Vinton T. Hook, inked by David Mowry, lettered by Joseph Allen, color design by Moose Bauman, color by interior colors, Corey, by Gone Fishin'.
Yeah.
And color edited by Ruth and Charlene. I guess they must be part of Gone Fishin'. Just got to call out the funny color team names every chance we get. Yeah, dude. Is Shang Tsung wearing like a skirt with tights underneath?
I mean, it certainly looks that way. I imagine it might not be a skirt because it seems like maybe the thing around his like waist is also just like wrapped there.
Sure.
Could be a continuation of that. He looks like a fucking pirate villain. He looks like a guy Zorro would fight.
He does. It's the cape that fucks up the look, right? Like
the cape is too much.
The fit is.
No, the fit's popping, but the cape is just a lot.
Well, it's like that thing where it's like once you get dressed, you have to look in the mirror and like remove one item, right? Like take an accessory off. Like he should have looked in the mirror before he went to this wedding and been like, okay, like you can't have like a lapel pin and a pocket square. Like he's like, okay, I can't have like the waist wrap and the cape. One of these has to go.
Well, and what's funny about it is you see the like golden thing holding the cape in place, and we didn't see that because his hands were in the way. So you think he's accessorized a normal amount, and then you realize it's a little bit too much.
Sure, I think that is what's throwing it off. Yeah. Anyway, dude, it's wedding bells time, right?
Dun, dun, dun.
There's some kind of like writing in here about how Sonya
well, we've got
she can't stop herself from walking down the aisle. She's trying to, but she can't resist.
No,
right?
and will you indulge me for a second?
I will.
Here's all the guests. We've got Reptile Melina.
Uh-huh.
Smokin' Jade.
Yeah.
King Gorback, ruler of the subterranean Shao Kahn realm.
Uh-huh. Toasty.
And then Goro, Kintaro, and then the funniest sentence a human man has ever written. Even the Earth criminal Kano. Why do we now have to describe him as the Earth criminal?
Because everyone needs a title, you know.
Yes, Kano. He's a criminal. Where's he from?
Earth.
Yes, the Earth. He is the Earth criminal.
Maybe it's more like the crimes he commits are environmental in nature.
The Earth
Maybe
criminal.
it's more that. So yeah, he's an Earth criminal. You know, I don't know. He I don't know, blows up rare rocks. Right.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure. I don't fucking know.
God, this issue's so dumb.
It is. We're gonna fucking blow through it. We learned that the reason, I guess it's pretty fucking obvious. Shao Kahn wants to marry Sonya because once they're married, the barrier between Earth realm
it's marriage laws. We've talked about this.
Disappear like smoke. It'll just poof, be gone.
It's
no more barrier between.
It's the Sindel rule.
It's the Sindel rule before the Sindel rule, right?
Yeah.
This is another. I'm not gonna hit the button. I'm gonna tap it.
Big.
Okay. Where they this seems like it's feeding into future Mortal Kombat lore in a weird, twisted, fucked up way. But also, it's all tropes too, right? The order and chaos shit is tropes, and the marriage to join kingdoms is a trope. So all of that stuff, it's all just tropes. So I don't know that I can really say that they took the idea from this for the Sindel thing, but it is just interesting that it happened, in canon in a different way. I don't know, dude. The wedding gets interrupted pretty fucking quick when Liu Kang shows up.
By everybody.
Liu Kang's aren't you supposed to ask if anybody objects to the wedding? And then, yeah, everybody's there. All of them. Raiden, Johnny Cage, Jax, Bo, Liu Kang, Siang. All of them are there. Eventually, Sub-Zero, Kitana, Baraka, and Kung Lao also show up. And everyone just fucks around and fights a little bit. The one thing, I mentioned earlier, when Sub-Zero shows up, Scorpion's how did you get free? That's not something we saw, because last we saw, literally 6 pages ago in the previous issue, was Sub-Zero captive, right? And in that same story, we saw the Death Stone intact. And now we've got Siang saying, the Death Stone is destroyed. I am now free. And Goro saying nah, I've got a little tiny piece. I still own you, bitch. So somehow between these two issues, all of that stuff happened and we just didn't see any of it. Yeah,
it's bad.
It's bad.
It's bad writing. It's bad presentation. It's confusing presentation.
Right. And I understand if that's all explained in the Baraka one shot. Great. Put it in this series though.
Yeah.
Quit pulling a Marvel Cinematic Universe and putting the important scene for this movie in that other movie that I don't want to watch.
Also,
right?
Does everybody need to give a fucking arrival speech and get name tags again?
Yes. Yes. This is a Mortal Kombat comic book. Of course they do. Anyway, I don't know. While all this is happening, Sonya regains her will, right?
Yeah.
And takes her wedding dress off to reveal her fighting clothes underneath. Just right
partner.
Underneath.
Them's fighting clothes.
Yeah, and then she goes to attack Shao Kahn. As Shao Kahn's having this weird realization that there's no way that the two realms can merge. I think that's what he was saying, right? He's saying these two forces, Earth Realm and Outworld, can never join in any union. So he's talking about conquering. He's talking about peacefully. And he's we can't join. It's going to ruin both of our worlds if we do. And Sonya keeps kicking at him and stuff. And then he gets this idea. Now, I don't fucking understand this, Corey. I do not understand this. He gets this idea for one final, I don't even know what to call it. One final challenge between the two realms, right? Basically seeking a goal of Shao Kahn's choosing like two teams just going after something that he chooses in some kind of a weird game. That's all the explanation they give us.
Game of Thrones.
They don't tell us why.
No.
Why he has the power to issue this challenge.
Why are the people in the room subject to his desire to do this?
Yeah. What gives him the power?
What elder god rule demands that we all play the game?
The only thing I can think of is because all of this fighting is happening in Outworld, if this is like somehow like invasion rules, technically. But
I don't think the writers even care. I don't think Charles cares.
I don't think Charles cares. Charles is over this at this point.
Me too, Charles.
I don't think that we're going to get an answer like in Tournament Edition 2. I'm not even sure they'll clear it up. I think
they won't. We're just going to get to a big challenge. I will say really quick, there's a really funny line here. Yes. I cannot fathom how my well-laid plans fell apart so utterly and completely.
Jesus Christ. Dude has never seen Mortal Kombat Conquest because his plans always fall apart.
The note that I wrote was just that quote and then lol, same my guy. So I also don't know how this happened.
Shao Kahn plans fall apart 100% of the time. So do Shang Tsung plans. So do Quan Chi plans. That's what plans do in Mortal Kombat world. Yeah, dude, I don't understand it, but that's like the end of the issue, right? That's the end of the main story of the issue. We got two teams, right? Shang Tsung and the boys against Sonya and the boys, right? Xiang on Shang Tsung's side reluctantly, and Sonya back on the boys, the Liu Kang side or whatever, the Raiden side. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, could not care less about these comics. I'm over it.
And there's going to be they're going to fumble around chasing a football or something.
I would literally rather watch them play Calvin Ball. Don't even tell me what the rules are.
But there is a backup story in this one called Every Dog Has Its Day, a Mortal Kombat interlude. No idea when this takes place in continuity. Sometime in the past. Who the fuck knows?
He's gonna take you back to the past.
Written by Dan Sahin, penciled by Keith Conroy, inks by Jack Snyder, letters by Dave Lamphere, colors by Scott Sava, interior colors by Prism Riot and Andy Walton. Prism Riot is my favorite Riot Girl punk band. This one takes place in Palos Verdes, California. Probably said that wrong. Don't care. Johnny Cage is trying to convince Sonya not to leave California, and she's like, no, I gotta go. We flash back to 2 weeks earlier. Johnny Cage and Sonya seem like they're on some sort of mission, like breaking into this underground bunker. Johnny Cage beats up three dudes playing cards while Sonya like rescues Mr. Secretary and the Missus from their kidnappers.
Well, hot diggity, I sure am glad the taxpayers' money actually pays for something worthwhile every now and again.
This is Mr. Secretary of the Treasury, perhaps, who was kidnapped here, complaining about the tax dollar. They make their escape out back. They realize they're safe, and Sonya and Johnny smooch. But record scratch. It was all a movie, dude. We hear someone yell, "Come."
Oh my god, that's so fucking funny.
All right, so that's getting edited out.
No, just beep it.
All right, we'll see how I deal with that.
All-time great edit. Freudian slip. That
we hear someone yell, "Cut, print." Fuck. Anyway, it was just a fucking movie. It was just a movie.
It was a movie, and then they don't get together.
Filming a movie. The movie was called Every Dog Has Its Day, and then we fast forward back to 2 weeks. Johnny's like, no, come on.
He got the dog in him.
But he's like, yeah, he's like being shitty in this. He's like, come on. Didn't all that time we spent together on set and all that kissing mean anything? And Sonny's like, no, dude.
It was literally fiction.
I was acting. I was fucking acting.
You asked me to.
This is like a thing. Is this a thing Johnny Cage does? Like, this is a thing Johnny Cage does. Like, he gets women to like be in his movies so he can like put the moves on them.
Yeah, he's a real fuckboy piece of shit.
Anyway, he absolutely did that to other women, but Sonya wasn't having any of it. She's like, peace, I got special forces shit to do. The end of that fucking waste of time.
The end of my interest in these comics, whatever was left.
Like, that story had less stakes than like an Archie comic, honestly. Like, anyway, that's it. That's the end of Battlewave 6. You can tell Charles Marshall's just out of ideas right? Like,
yeah, they sure are. This was clearly like a contractual obligation.
There's a formatting problem with these, with everything divided up into one shots and mini series and all. If it was just like one continuous ongoing book, so that you're getting every step of the story in one comic, like that would be better, right? If you were really seeing this stuff like unfold chronologically, instead of just being divided up and like one scene happens in this book and one scene happens in that book and this doesn't fit in anywhere. I don't know, man. It's just, I can see why the comics don't last past this era, right?
No, and they have all sort of felt like this, but this is the most they have absolutely felt like this. I know that sentence doesn't have a lot of specifics in it, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah,
this is the most nothing these have felt, and they've all felt a little bit like that.
Sure, but you think you're getting introduced, like you're reading Blood and Thunder. You think you're getting introduced to the world,
more like Blunder,
and you're building something, like you're building towards something. But then when you get this deep in and nothing has changed, you're like, okay, I'm just wasting my time.
More
right?
like Battlewave.
My patience is worn out, and I was hyped on these at the start, like, and I still am pretty hyped about like the first half, but this second half has just been. Like, since the Special Forces 2-issue thing, it's just been a slog, dude.
Yep.
But we're almost done.
A Defenders of the Realm style slog.
We're almost done, though. We are going to do, in terms of comics, before we get to Tournament Edition number 2, we are going to do the 3 one-shots, the Baraka, Katana and Melina, and Kung Lao one-shots, and working on getting some friends lined up to talk about those with us. So scheduling on those might have to be a little kind of fluid. Definitely doing a commentary next week. And then we will be tackling the remaining 4 comic book issues one at a time soon. And then it'll be over, Corey. The comic books will be over.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll only have one more thing left to read.
And then we don't have to read anything ever again.
Just the Jeff Roven novel.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, you want to go do some chess boxing?
I would love that.
Yeah, let's do it. Corey, what do you got going on?
Oh, gosh, I want to make this fast. I got 2 other podcasts. One of them is about sequels and movies and reboots and remakes of movies and you know, that kind of thing.
I thought you were going to do this fast.
Yeah, it's called They Made Another One. That's what it's called. You can look that up, and that's what it is. And then on the other show that I do called Strat 2, short for the strategy word, the word strategy. We talk about Formula 1 over there. Strat 2 F1. Mr. Corey Price on Twitter. These comic books are sapping the life out of me.
It's happening.
Go now.
It is. Yeah. You can find me on Twitter at Final Neil. Follow my Instagram account at Final Neil Retro. I have another podcast called Crew Expendable, all about the Alien film and comic book and book franchise. crewexpendable.net. Find links to that podcast. We recently did an episode on Archie versus Predator issue number 1, so go check that out. That's a good comic book. These are bad comic books. You can follow this show on Twitter and Instagram at MK Podquest. Our website, mkpodquest.com, has links to how you can support the show, our YouTube channel, how to get in touch with us, etc. All the subscription, places to find the show. So go there and do that. Rate us 5 stars. Give us good reviews. We will be back next week to talk about something. Bye.